And now, AM 650 presents your source for leading-edge news and information on today's hottest products and services. This is Experts on Call on AM 650.
Well, hello, and welcome to Quay Pacific's Talk About Strata. I'm Stirling Fox, joined in studio by Tony Gioventu, the Executive Director of the Condominium Homeowners Association of British Columbia. Hello.
Hey, Sterling, how are we doing?
I am well, thanks. Good to see you again.
It's very good to be back.
And you've brought a guest. Please introduce Wendy Atcheson to our listeners.
Wendy Atcheson is the Vice President and Registrar from the Homeowner Protection Office of British Columbia.
Wendy, welcome.
Thank you, Stirling. Good to be here.
It's great to have you. Tell us a little bit about this outfit that you work for, the Homeowner Protection Office. It's a department or an agency of BC Housing, and I don't think a lot of people listening know a whole lot about your agency and what you do. So give us a break here and fill us in, please.
Well, the Homeowner Protection Office, as you'd mentioned, it's a branch of BC Housing, which is a Crown corporation under the Minister of Housing. And the HPO, as we're known in particular, we license residential builders and make sure that all new homes built in BC are covered by a policy of home warranty insurance.
Okay. Now, they used to call those new home warranties. Do they still call, is that program still in existence, or have they renamed it, but the idea is still going forward?
Well, back in the day, there was BC New Home Warranty.
Yes, I had one of those.
That actually, that program went bankrupt with the leaky condo crisis.
Not my fault. Thank
that
goodness.
was a voluntary home warranty insurance. What happened when the HPO came into existence back in 1998 was that having licensing and home warranty insurance became mandatory for all new homes and was regulated by this new Crown corporation.
So regardless of the type of home, whether it's a townhouse or a condominium apartment or a single-family residence, they all require some form of new home warranty. They come with one attached, correct?
Yes. Well, the builder actually has to apply for the home warranty insurance. The licensed builder has to apply for that before they start building. In fact, before they even get a building permit. If you see a development coming, a hole in the ground, I guess, in the street where you know a residential building is going to be built, at some point before they even start building, they're going to have to come to the Homeowner Protection Office, register the development, or even the single-family home, as you mentioned, with home warranty insurance. We don't actually provide the home warranty insurance ourselves, but we do ensure that there is home warranty insurance. There are four insurance companies in BC that provide that home warranty insurance.
But they're not Crown agencies like ICBC. They're private companies.
That's right. It's a competitive model for home warranty insurance, and they're all regulated by the Financial Institutions Commission, so they're all licensed as well. Everything's above board. And the value of this system over the previous system that we had in place where it was voluntary is that if the builder goes bankrupt, leaves town, whatever happens to the builder, that home warranty insurance is backed by an insurance company.
Ah, okay. Now, Tony, for Strata owners, and let me use an example, and this is current. I drive down Kingsway frequently through Burnaby, and there's a particularly wide open stretch of land that has suddenly got a fence around it and a sign that says coming soon, and there's a picture of a couple of towers. So presumably the developers who are about to dig holes in the ground and construct these two towers have already had a visit with our guest Wendy and her people, and all the permits are in order. Are they even allowed to put up those signs, Wendy, until they've received the go-ahead from your office?
They can do pre-sales, but they can't actually, put a hammer or start any kind of excavation before they have well, typically you can't do that before you have the building permit.
Sure.
You can't get the building permit before you've come to us.
So isn't it the city of Burnaby, in this case, on that stretch on Kingsway, that would issue some kind of permits? But again, even before the city goes, they have to go to you in Victoria and get the green light?
That's right, yeah.
So this, Tony, strikes me as being almost a double layer of protection for the consumer. Is that the way you look at it?
Well, it's a third-party layer of protection, which I think is the best form, because the warranty is arm's length away from the development industry and away from the municipalities. So the warranty provider, which is an insurance policy, is essentially becomes an independent contractual relationship between the Strata Corporation and the warranty provider. All the other parties are set out of it once the new building is developed.
Okay.
So they do have a better layer of protection. The warranty is also it has limits to it, but the warranty system is also there not only for common property but for each of the strata lots as well. The warranty is called a 2, 5, and 10, which is it describes the different components that are warranted for different periods. So the essential building systems entirely are warranted for the first 2-year period. The building envelope is warranted for a 5-year period, and the structure of the building is warranted for a 10-year period.
Oh, okay. All right. So different categories for, okay. Now, Wendy, tell us about the common areas of problems. What are the biggest issues that you have to deal with, given that you issue building permits to developers of every type of residence imaginable? What's the biggest bone of contention on a daily basis in the office?
Well, we don't actually deal with the warranty claims ourselves. Those would be the builders and the insurance companies that do. As far as strata properties, really most of the claims that are reported to us happen in the first 1 or 2 years of the property having been developed. People are, obviously it's their homes, they want everything to be perfect.
Sure.
So,
and they're paying big chips for it, so
that's
why
right.
not?
So if there are scratches on the floor, if there are chips in the paint, those smaller items are really the things that people are going to claim for if their builder hasn't fixed it already. Because really most reputable builders, they will go back, they will have a customer service program, and they will fix those little irritants to homeowners without the homeowner actually having to make a claim through their home warranty insurance.
You're listening to Quay Pacific's Talk About Strata here on AM 650. I'm Stirling Fox, joined by Tony Gioventu, Executive Director of the Condominium Homeowners Association, CHOA, of BC, and Wendy Atcheson is with us too. She's the VP and Registrar for the BC Homeowner Protection Office, an agency, frankly, Wendy, that I don't know that a lot of people are even aware of. Does that bother you at all, or are you just happy to go about providing the service that you do? Do you wish more people even knew the sort of work that goes on their behalf by you and your staff?
Well, absolutely. It's a big population out there, but there are a lot of services that we provide that people probably would value. We have, in addition to the actual regulatory function, we have a very robust research and education division. We do a lot of research around technical building issues that are of value to the building community, but also some consumer guides and education for consumers. For instance, one of the key consumer guides that we have that I know Tony's quite interested in and supportive of is our Maintenance Matters series of bulletins.
Okay.
And certainly, I mean, maintenance is always important, always has been important, but with depreciation reports becoming mandatory now, the Maintenance Matters bulletins are even more important because it helps people understand what they need to maintain in their property.
And Tony, you've spent a great deal of time over this summer telling us about these and filling us in with more of the details about how these new financial requirements, these filing requirements that have come in effective this year in January, are ultimately going to be of enormous benefit to strata owners province-wide. And so as people who live in strata situations come to understand the need for this sorts of financial planning, these bulletins that Wendy's department keeps issuing would be really helpful, because you are going to have to fix that roof. You are going to have to maintain things. There are going to be replacement issues along the way, and the better they are planned for, the more likely, well, they'll be a lot less catastrophic when they occur, correct?
Absolutely, and the Maintenance Matters guides, along with some of the other consumer guides that have been out there around managing repairs, and some new research guides coming up in the near future around managing major construction, are part of the integrated role of the development of depreciation reports. They weren't by accident. There was a planned focus around being able to deliver tools to consumers and to the strata management industry around creating maintenance and operations guides and maintenance and operations checklists and plans. And then, of course, we have depreciation reports that come into play now at the same time. So all of it was fairly well coordinated. Some of it was serendipitous, some of it was planned, and it certainly comes together so that when you start pulling all of the resources together along with your depreciation report, there's some very good, effective tools for strata corporations to do planning now.
Wendy, let me ask you, just by way of getting my head around what it is you do. Back in the day, here in Vancouver, there was a huge crisis. It was the leaky condo crisis of the 80s. How would the program that you administer now have dealt with those days and that crisis differently? Are we in a better shape as a consumer group to handle something like that in 2012 than we were 30 years ago when all this stuff happened in the first place?
Yeah, absolutely, Stirling. I mean, the whole point of the program coming into effect was to not only deal with problems should they arise, but to establish a better standard of construction.
Okay.
So, of course, you've got insurance companies backing builders. The insurance companies are wanting to manage their risk, so they're making sure that the builders are doing what they're supposed to be doing. As I mentioned before, a lot of the claims that come in, they're just really for the small items. Very rarely today do we see claims for major structural problems,
sure,
or even for building envelope.
Because of the improvements to code over the years.
Because certainly improvements to code have made a difference, but you know, this whole system is about accountability.
Sure.
And now the builders are more accountable, so they build a better quality product to begin with.
And I would think ultimately some of the municipalities who have been called on the carpet for some of this over the years, because it was their codes that the builders were obliged to maintain, so cities would have buffed up their code as well, have they not, in the decades since all this began?
Well, the cities, they use the provincial building code primarily.
Okay, so it comes out of Victoria all the way. I didn't know that, okay.
City of Vancouver does have its own code, so there are some differences there. But I think the key there is that it's not just to code that they're building to anymore. What's expected under a policy of home warranty insurance, certainly the code is the minimum standard.
Sure, right.
But the warranty providers, they have a higher standard, in fact, in most cases. And one of the documents that I'd really like to get the word out to consumers about is our residential construction performance guide. That's a very extensive document. It's online on our website and can be referred to by consumers, just so that they understand if they have a policy of home warranty insurance for a new home. So that's basically anything that's been built in the last 10 years we consider a new home. They can refer to this document and have a pretty good idea of what's expected in terms of what is a defect, what isn't a defect.
Okay, now you said this is on your website, so for the first of many occasions in this hour, what's your website address?
It's www.hpo.bc.ca.
hpo.bc.ca. All right, our guest is Wendy Atcheson, Vice President and Registrar of the BC Homeowner Protection Office. Also with us in studio, Tony Gioventu. I'm sitting here with a copy of the Victoria Times Colonist from this week, or last week, in which Tony's 500th column is featured on the front page of the At Home section. Also in the Vancouver province, where he is the Condo Smarts columnist and has been for 500 columns. We'll talk about all of that work with Tony Gioventu and our guest Wendy Atcheson when we continue here on Experts on Call.
delivering relevant and beneficial consumer information. This is Experts on Call, and there's more still ahead on AM 650.